Welcome back to HCISD's Learn Text podcast. I'm happy you're here joining us today for our 5th episode in our parent series. Learn Text will inspire continuous learning by fulfilling the desire and joy of acquiring new knowledge. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Jennifer Maldonado, and today we have a very special episode where you will have a chance to get to know our brand new superintendent, Dr. Alicia Noyola. Today, I want to say thank you, Dr. Noyola, for joining us.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the time. It's been a whirlwind last couple of weeks, but I'm excited. I'm excited at the opportunity to meet more people, more of our HCISD family. I've had an opportunity to travel, to visit some of our schools, and it's just been an exciting time. So I'm looking forward to the opportunities to connect with all of our HCISD family.
Well, I know that after today, everyone will have the opportunity to know a little bit more about you. So we're really excited for that. But we all know that Dr. Cavazos is a beloved superintendent and will be truly missed. However, as Jonathan Lockwood Huey states, we must celebrate endings, for they precede new beginnings. And today we celebrate and welcome our new superintendent, Dr. Alicia Noyola. So Dr. Noyola, the biggest thing people want to know is just, who are you?
Oh gosh. I'm a lot of things, I guess. I think all of us are a lot of things, and our job is just a portion of that. But when we talk about the job, I've been in HCISD now, and sometimes I lose count on the number of years because it's just been a long time. One of the beauties is that when you love what you do, time just flies. And that's just how it's been for me in HCISD. HCISD has been home. Started here in the district as a principal at Vela Middle School when we opened that campus back in 2005. Spent some lovely times. They're wonderful people that I had the opportunity to work with, not just the staff, but our students and our Vela community out there. And then I had the opportunity to come to central office as a chief academic officer, which was a role where we oversaw all of the academic programming across the district. And so just an enormous opportunity, a huge endeavor, because it is the most critical aspect of the work that we do is really making sure that we are preparing our students academically. But beyond that, I spend my time with my family. I'm a child of nine children in our family. So times could get a little crowded there when we were growing up, but just a family full of love. My parents raised some great people, good people, which is what I take the greatest pride in when I think about my family. There's 9 people, but just fabulous people that I grew up with, and many beautiful memories. The school business is dear to me, not just because of the work, and I know the impact that we have on so many individuals across our district, but I have my own investment in our district. I have 5 nieces and nephews that attend our district throughout the area, and they're near and dear to me. I have my little godson who is 4 years old, a pre-K'er at Austin Elementary, and he just captures my heart every single day. I actually bring him to school every morning. So every morning we have our little conversations, and it's amazing having conversations with a 4-year-old. They're funny conversations. They are sometimes amazing conversations when we with some of the things that he says. I think, how do you even know some of those things? But it's just been amazing. Austin Elementary has been an amazing place for him. My other nieces and nephews, I have another niece that also attends Austin, and her and James ride with me every morning. So I have a unique perspective every morning, and it's a terrific way to start the day with those little ones. And then I have a nephew who attends Vernon World Languages Academy. He chose to go to that campus. He was excited at the opportunities that would give him. He wanted to learn Spanish because his grandparents speak Spanish. And so he wanted to be able to better communicate with them. And so he's loving that experience. He's doing sign language in Spanish. And then my other niece and nephew, they attend Harlingen High School. And so they participate in their programs. You know, it's so great to have the perspective of our district, not just from my lens and what I see on a day-to-day, but to hear it from our students and to hear about their experiences and just what a wonderful time they're having in our school district. And really, that's all I want for every child that attends our school district. I want them to walk away at the end of the day excited about what they've learned, excited about what they're experiencing. And so that in a nutshell is really what drives me when I think about the work that we do in Harlingen, not necessarily my nieces and nephews, but just all of our children. And so that gives you a small little lens into what my life looks like on a regular basis.
Well, I think that encapsulates many different things about you, Dr. Noyola. Certainly 9 children growing up in a home. I'm an only child, so that alone baffles me. How do you even get your bathroom time in, right?
It was crowded.
And all of that. But one of the things that you talked about was your time here as the VELA principal. And when I started with the district almost 10 years ago, that is the position you held. And that was my first opportunity to interact and get to know you. And I'm going to tell you, Dr. Noyola, that was the first time that I was inspired by you. And there were many things in that role, but one of the things that we did was go out to each of the campuses. We would do back-to-back PLCs all day long. But one of the things that impressed me is that you were always there to invest and support your teams. And there, without fail, every time that we were there, there was not a PLC that you missed an opportunity to go and say, hey, I'm here, I'm with you. You always showed your teachers that it mattered. And watching you transition into your role at central office and do the same thing for Division of Instruction, those individuals in DOI also realized that you were there to support and develop them as well. And so knowing that you always invest and develop teams, I think is just something that I myself have been able to see and witness, and I admire about you. And I know that as superintendent, people want to know, what will you spend time investing in, you know, as superintendent? In other words, what are you passionate about in education?
You know, Jennifer, one of my experiences as I grew up, you know, as I was named superintendent, one of the things that I took a lot of time reflecting on was just the many blessings that I've had in this life from where I started. And you know, now is really not, it's too long of a story, but where I began to where I sit now, on a daily basis, I count my blessings. And I sit where I am now through countless opportunities that were provided for me through our school systems, through public education, through people that really were invested in my success. But I can't say that was the same for all of my 9 brothers and sisters, right? And so one of the things that I have always been passionate about is how do we create opportunities for every child? I don't want to be the exception. I want to be the rule. And so one of the things that as I've worked within my position as Chief Academic Officer in our school district was always looking for, how do we create an additional opportunity? so that when our students graduate and leave Harlingen CISD, that they are not just walking away with a diploma, but they are walking away with a diploma plus. A diploma plus what else? So is that plus that I am walking away with college hours because I have made the decision that I want to pursue increased academics. And so when I do, I am walking away with X number of college hours that catapult me that one step further on my journey. Do I walk away with a certification? Is that my plus? And that is the plus that will move me ahead further on whatever my journey is, or maybe it's a combination of both. But what is that child's plus? Is my plus military? And how do we support a student that wants to pursue that roadmap? But I think every one of those provides a student that additional opportunity that maybe not all of us have been as fortunate enough to have. And so that means that we have to be very purposeful about accounting for every child. And so what is Jennifer Maldonado's plus when she graduates? What's Alicia Noyolas' plus? But each one of us should have that plus next to our name, next to that diploma. And so that is one of those pieces that I'm very passionate about, that every child leaves our school system one step further than that diploma, because gone are the days when a diploma alone is going to put a child on a pathway to a successful starting point, to a place where they can start further ahead than the diploma that their parents graduated with. So often, I think so many of us, as we look at all the things that we now are able to do for students, all of us think, wow, if only that had been there when I graduated high school, right? Or when I was in school. So that's my passion. How do we do that for every student and not have a student not walk away with that plus sign next to their diploma?
Yes, absolutely. Getting those kids ready for what's next, what's to come. And that's completely aligned with our mission in HCISD. Absolutely. To be college, career, and workforce ready. So with that in mind, what is it that you're looking forward to most about this position?
You know, COVID has obviously thrown a wrench into a lot of things, right? Into everybody's life. One of the things that I'm most looking forward to, aside from where we go as a district, one of the things I'm just most looking forward to, and I think a lot of us are, is just having our kids back. You know, the last couple of weeks, I've had a little bit more of an opportunity to visit campuses, and the energy that students bring back into our schools, the energy that it gives our teachers to have our students face to face. You know, I was over at one of the campuses and I was talking to kids, and the hands are going up and they're just so excited. And that's just such an energizer to all of us. You know, and you know, I think they bring that purpose when we're, you know, as hard as we all work, there's just no feeling quite like having students in front of you. And so I'm really excited about that piece. That's just at a personal heart level. But when I think about our district as a whole, COVID did not prevent us from moving our district forward. We didn't let the can'ts rule our world. We focused on what were all the cans that we could accomplish in spite of whatever obstacles and challenges came before us. And I really believe that that's the spirit of HCISD. And so as we look towards here at the near future, I'm really excited about UTRGV opening in the fall. Our UTRGV Early College High School had an opportunity to go out there and visit the facility. We did a walkthrough. It's just going to be an amazing campus and an amazing opportunity for our students. I can't wait to have the kids walk into that building. They will just be in awe of what the space looks like, but even more so what will happen in that space. So I'm really excited about that. Our Transition Academy is set to open later in the spring. And so amazing work that has happened there, work that has been long due for our special needs students. I know that parents' concern is what happens after high school. And so what do we do on our end to help prepare them better to make that transition? And so our Transition Academy is really an exciting piece and something that we will be able to do different for our students. So thrilled about that. Our Treasure Hills construction, we're almost done with that. We're in our later phases, and I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go out there and look at it, but amazing work that has been done. Amazing work, I go back to the same thing. It's what's happening inside those spaces. And so beautiful opportunity for our students at Treasure Hills. Our two elementaries, Austin Elementary and Sam Houston Elementary, they just got authorized for their IB programming. Those two campuses have been working hard for the last 3 years, because becoming authorized by the International Baccalaureate is not an easy task. It took 3 years to get to that space, a lot of training, a lot of work, a lot of dedication by those staffs and those administrators. And so their work is coming into fruition. Over the last 3 years, I've seen the transformation that has happened inside those campuses. And so I'm thrilled for our students that are there and future students that choose to pursue that track, knowing that the benefits that will come from IB and the fact that there will be these students I have no doubt will want to pursue that type of programming even beyond elementary. We are also looking at submitting an application for Vernon Middle School, so that Vernon Middle School will be able to continue that work that is happening at our IB campuses. So just an exciting time. I talked about opportunities earlier. These are the type of opportunities that I see available for all of our students. And, certainly my goal is to continue to expand as many opportunities as possible, so that we reach that point where there is not a single student that does not have an opportunity that meets their passion. And so just a lot of great things. I ask anybody that is joining us or will be listening to the podcast to stay tuned, because there are still many exciting and transformational items coming to our district. I always say excellence has no finish line. And so we will continue to strive for excellence for every single one of our children here in HCISD.
Well, that is certainly so many things to look forward to here in HCISD. And one of the things that you spoke to is just that feeling, and any educator knows what it feels like to be ignited by students. Mm-hmm. And especially if you haven't been in front of students in a while, to go out and see them. And I think that's what teachers are very eager and looking forward to, is having their students back and in front of them. And one thing that some people may not know, but you really led the safety initiative here in HCISD, during this pandemic, and you spoke to it a little bit. We have now become really a model here in the region, in the state. And I just think people may be wondering, what can we expect just as we continue to transition students back face to face?
Well, I'm really excited at what lays in the future with regard that I truly believe that we will be back to our HCISD of old in terms of having all of our students back in our schools. And my hope is that is exactly where we'll be in the fall. In the meantime, I'm really monitoring where we are at as a nation and as a local area with regard to vaccines. We know that the impact that vaccines will have, it's this race between vaccines and the virus. And, I have every hope that we will overcome that. So the vaccines are going to play a critical role. At this point, the focus is on teachers, but I know that there's a lot of study and going on with regard to the impact of the vaccine on students. But our focus in HCISD has always been, how do we maintain the health and safety of everyone? And so, there's been a lot of initiatives that we put into play to ensure that those students that chose to come back to face were kept safe. And we've had a lot of positive response from our parents and our staff and our community about the efforts that we put in place. And so we will continue that focus on health. One of the things that we've been spending a lot of time around and focused on, not just in the now, but when we return, hopefully in the fall, and that's on the social emotional counseling support for our students. We know what we're experiencing as adults, and it's not always easy. And so, that becomes that more magnified when we think about our students. And so we're working a lot of our plans around how do we continue the support, how do we enhance the support currently, but then what does that look like upon the return of our students? I'll tell you, I had a conversation with one of our student advisory groups, and I posed that question to them on, talk to me about the social emotional impact of COVID, and how do we help support you in this process? And so there was a lot of stories of isolation, sometimes of different roles that they now have to play, and how do they balance their home life with online, or even on our face-to-face students. Tell you, I had a high school student that shared with me that they're the oldest in the family, and so life still goes on. Mom and dad still have to work, which we all understand that. We still have to navigate our way through it, but sometimes they have to bear the responsibility of also monitoring their younger siblings. And so having a younger sibling that you have to help get online and get them situated, and lunchtime, how do we handle those things? And then I also have to monitor my own studies and get online and so forth. And it's something that, they do willingly, but it still causes a pressure on them, and how do they balance that? And so our continued focus is on how do we support you? And, it was amazing, the ideas that they came up with, right? And so who knows themselves best than kids? And so we're working on some of those ideas that they generated to help them in the now, but also we can't be blind to the fact that when they return in the fall, they will still have those experiences that they have dealt with and may continue to deal with. And so how do we support them in that transition back into our school system? And so we have a fabulous counseling staff, and so they will take a lot of that information and really tailor our programs to ensure that we're supporting them in the now and when they come back to us.
Well, I think our listeners are very aware that I'm a parent in the district, and it's very comforting to hear that that's a priority and a focus, because it is difficult. We are able to get out, we have connections, and I see it with my older son, who has the opportunity, who has connections with his friends, is able to text, and they do Zoom calls with their friends, and Zoom hangouts at lunch, and they found their way, right? But I see the younger sibling who didn't have the cell phone in time, so they don't have the connections, they don't know their friends' numbers, and so it looks very different for his younger age. And so you can see the difference, absolutely, with the isolation and those kinds of things. So it's really great to hear, and I think a lot of parents will be comforted by that. Well, thank you just for sharing your insights today, Dr. Noyola. And I think that so many of our parents will be very excited to just know a little bit more about you and what we can expect going forward. But do you just have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
I'll just go back a little bit to what I talked about, just this whole experience of having been named the superintendent in HCISD. I'm just ever grateful to the board for that vote of confidence in me. And, I've said this often, but it really is entrusting the most precious asset that we have as a community, and that's our children. And every day I wake up feeling blessed and recognizing that God has put me in this position for a reason. And, you know, it's to make a difference in children's lives. And so I'm excited. I'm excited at the opportunity. I'm humbled by it. I just, you know, I wish the greatest blessings upon all of us, all our community. And, you know, I'm just blessed to be here. And, you know, I just wish same blessings for everybody around us.
Well, as an employee, as a parent, and a community member, I'm very excited, Dr. Noyola, and thank you so much for joining us and our listeners today. We encourage our listeners to get connected by visiting our site at hcisd.org/learntext or by tweeting using the hashtag HCISDLearnText. And thank you for joining us today. We hope you will join us next time for LearnText, where it is our mission that LearnText will inspire continuous learning by fulfilling the desire and joy of acquiring new knowledge. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Noyola. Have a great day.
Likewise.